welcome to the deep dive. Um, Today we're getting into something really key for anyone aiming for, professional success in the U.S.
Yeah, specifically how to study effectively.
Right, for some pretty tough licensing exams.
Mm,
We're looking at strategies for both the BSCE, that's the civil engineering exam, and the NAVLE, the big one for vets.
it seems like an odd pairing at first, maybe. Bridges and bulldogs?
Huh. Yeah, exactly. But what connects them?
Well, it's really about mastering a huge amount of complex information. That's the common thread.
Okay, so it's not just about, like, memorizing facts.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. What's fascinating is that shared need for like deep understanding, not just rote learning.
Uh-huh.
Both these fields, well, they need professionals who can take complex knowledge and actually apply it, real world situations.
Right, like ensuring a building is safe or figuring out what's wrong with a sick animal.
Exactly. So the real question is, how do you actually get to that level of mastery?
Okay, yeah. So how do we get past just, passively reading the textbook? What are some active ways to make things stick?
Well, active recall is huge. Think of it like this. For the BSCE, instead of just staring at, say, structural analysis equations,
Mm.
try solving practice problems without looking at your notes first.
Making your brain do the work.
Precisely. And for the NAVLE, maybe after reviewing different parasites,
Okay.
try to ID the parasite just from a description, its life cycle or the symptoms it causes.
Ah, okay. So you're forcing your brain to retrieve the info, not just recognize it.
Exactly. It makes those neural connections stronger, easier to access later.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what about just the sheer amount of stuff? These exams cover so much ground.
Yeah, that's where effective time management comes in. It's absolutely key.
Like training for a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Break down the syllabus. It's huge, right? Into smaller bits, manageable topics.
Yeah.
Then create a realistic study schedule. And this is crucial. Regularly revisit stuff you've already covered. Spaced repetition, basically.
Okay, so it prevents that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, and it helps reinforce things over time.
Right. Stops the overload,
Hmm.
locks it in.
So being strategic with your planning,
Yeah.
and I guess you also need to understand the exam itself, like the format.
Oh, definitely. Knowing the format, the time limits, how it's scored. For both the BSCE and the NAVLE, that lets you tailor how you prepare.
How so?
Well, for instance, if the BSCE uses a lot of scenario problems about, say, code requirements,
Right.
then your practice needs to reflect that. Lots of scenario work.
Makes sense.
And if the NAVLE has tons of multiple choice questions testing diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
then focusing on case studies is vital. It helps you recognize patterns.
It's interesting, even though the subjects, engineering and medicine, are so different,
Yeah,
the core principles for learning effectively seem, well, universal.
absolutely. Actively testing yourself, planning your time well, understanding the assessment.
It's not just about cramming facts. It's about training your brain to actually use them.
Exactly. And if you connect this back to the bigger goal, becoming a successful civil engineer or vet in the USA,
Mm-hmm.
these exams are, well, they're critical gatekeepers, aren't they? They ensure a certain level of competence, protect the public, protect animal health.
So for you listening right now,
Yeah.
whether you're facing the BSCE or the NAVLE or maybe some other big learning challenge,
Yeah.
the key really seems to be focusing on how you learn best.
Right. Engage actively with the material. Schedule that review time consistently.
And aim for real understanding, not just
Yeah,
surface memorization.
precisely. And maybe consider exploring specific techniques that fit these principles. Things like, space repetition systems or the Feynman technique.
Well, where you explain it simply.
Yeah, explaining concepts in simple terms to someone else or even just to yourself. It really solidifies your own grasp of it.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we've looked at effective study strategies, ones that apply to both engineering and veterinary licensing exams. Both paths aiming for professional success here in the U.S. So maybe a final thought for you to consider. How can these fundamental ideas about effective learning, active recall, strategic planning, aiming for deep understanding, apply to whatever your specific goals are?
Yeah, maybe digging a bit deeper into study techniques tailored just for you. That could be the thing that really unlocks your potential.